Hello guys, welcome back to Frank Predicts, where we analyze the Premier League games for the weekend. So this weekend has some interesting fixtures as the title race is heating up. So let's jump straight into it. The first game is Man City vs West Ham. Man City, I feel like, are beginning to pick up. They won against Leicester City. They played slightly differently because typical Man City, they will dominate possession. But after they got the first goal, they were maybe slightly defensive. They let Leicester kind of have the ball. Leicester created a lot of chances. They were not clinical. They probably would have been able to get something out of that game. And then City continued to hang in there. And then they now got the second goal. That was kind of like their first away win, I think, in 8 games. And they, got the win, got the clean sheet. So I feel like that gives them confidence and they're going to build on that. And then coming to play West Ham at home, West Ham just got a proper battering from Liverpool. They lost 5-0 at home, right? And I think for that game, Bowen is injured as well. So West Ham is low on confidence. They are really open with this new system that they're playing that sees them really exposed. They've been conceding a lot of goals. I think they conceded 5 against Arsenal as well, right? So I don't see how West Ham is going to get a result from this game. They might get a goal because we know City's defense is not perfect, but I will have this as an easy win for City at home, maybe 3-1 or something like that. So I think City is going to win this game. West Ham is really poor, so we should not dwell that much on the game. Then the next game after that is a London derby. So Crystal Palace vs Chelsea. So Chelsea, I've been singing praises of Chelsea. I mean, for the past, in fact, every single week I keep praising Chelsea, right? I said Chelsea is a good side. And now, in the last 3 games, they are without a win. Am I going to now suddenly say, oh, Chelsea's not a good side? No. I think Chelsea is still a very good team, right? I feel like the manager got it wrong with the team he picked against Ipswich. I feel like, yes, they lost at home to Fulham, but Chelsea was leading Fulham for most of that game, right? They were leading 1-0 up until like the 90th minute when Fulham got the goal. And then Chelsea kind of pushed, and I feel like they were desperate to get the winner, and that's why they considered the second goal on counter, right? They could have actually walked away with the 1 point, which didn't really mean anything, as at that time they've not lost the game. I felt like because of the pressure of playing a draw with Everton the previous week, and now there's the potential of playing a draw at home against Fulham, I feel like they now kind of push for the goal and expose themselves. Fulham is a good team, right? And it's a London derby. Fulham is a good team. They give a lot of teams trouble. I spoke about how they narrowly lost to Man City 1-0 in the game that, I think 2-1 in the game that they should have won. They played a draw against Arsenal. They even played a draw against Liverpool. That's in Liverpool's home. So Fulham is a good side. So I felt like Chelsea could have actually taken that one draw and say, oh, you know what, it's a London derby, it's our local rivals, it's fine to drop point as opposed to pushing. But then, looking at the game against Ipswich, the manager made a lot of changes. He now dropped all their Jackson and their Sancho. And when I saw that lineup, I was like, what is this guy doing here? Is he trying to say, oh, these guys didn't play well in the last game, so I'm punishing them by dropping them? Or is he just rotating his team? Because I felt like, going to Ipswich, it would be a difficult game. We saw how Arsenal struggled to beat Ipswich 1-0, right, at home. So knowing that, okay, Chelsea is going away to Ipswich, I know Ipswich will defend. So I thought that was going to be a close game, and Chelsea needed to have all their best players on the pitch for that game to be able to get something out of it, obviously, because Ipswich will be defending. So when I saw that team, I was thinking, is this guy really sure of this? And I was not surprised when I saw that, Ipswich was leading 1-0. But I think what surprised me the most is the fact that even after he brought on their Jackson and everybody, they ended up conceding another goal, and Chelsea didn't really look like scoring. So with that, no win in 3 games, playing, 2 defeats, 1 draw against Everton, and now they're going away to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is a decent side. This is not going to be an easy London derby at all. I feel like this game is hard to call. It's more like one of those games that is 50-50. It can go either ways, right? Crystal Palace can actually win this game. I know Arsenal destroyed Crystal Palace, but Arsenal is a different team, right? Compared to Chelsea. So this is a 50-50 game that can go either ways. But as for Chelsea, they need to win. They need to start winning quickly, because dropping points in this game, if Newcastle was to win, then they will kind of be out of the top four. They will drop down to fifth, right? And you don't want to start off from second, drop down to third, then to fourth where they are now, and then to fifth. So, it looks like, okay, yeah, you're going through a really, really bad time. So Chelsea, I think they need to look for a way to win this game. Even if it's to win ugly, they probably have to win this London derby against Crystal Palace, so that they can just it's almost like it's a new year, right? Put everything that's happened in the past and then start afresh. So I feel like, yeah, Chelsea need to win this game. But yeah, that being said, against Crystal Palace at home is a London derby. Remember, Crystal Palace already played draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I remember that game. Chelsea was leading 1-0, comfortable, and then Palace scored back, and then the game ended 1-1. So this is going to be another tight London derby that can go either way. So I have that game as 50-50. Then the next game after that is Brighton vs Arsenal. I must say, I've not really praised Arsenal lately, but I was impressed with the manner of win that Arsenal got at Brentford. I thought Brentford was a difficult test. Personally, I set that game as a difficult test, that if Arsenal was going to lose any game, it would be against Brentford. But apparently, Arsenal have been very good. I think the whole of 2024, they did not even lose any London derby, both against, Tottenham, against Chelsea, and the rest. They've not really been losing derbies. So Arsenal is really strong when it comes to London derbies. But Brentford had good home record, right? In fact, before that game, they had the joint best home record with Liverpool, right? So they were always winning at home. So I thought that was going to be a difficult game for Arsenal. And even when Brentford scored first, I was like, okay, here we go. And then they had the chance to score the second goal. The keeper saved the ball on the line. And then after that, Arsenal kind of equalized, then scored 2 early goals in the second half, and they looked really, really comfortable. I think I was shocked at how comfortable Arsenal was in that game in the second half. It was almost like Brentford had just one shot on target. Arsenal kind of managed everything. So it makes me start thinking that, is Arsenal back? Because we've seen Arsenal have this kind of near perfect away performances. Last season, I think that's what they did. They went on a long run, away from home. They managed the games. They win. Some they win with 4-0. Some they manage to win 1-2-0, depending on how the game is, but they just win. So I'm beginning to think that, is that Arsenal back? But well, who knows? We'll have to wait for the game against Brighton, because if you remember, I think the first thing that Arsenal dropped points to this season was Brighton, and they were playing at home. That was the game they got the first red card. I know, yeah, they were leading that game, and then they did not kind of close the game out, and Brighton was hanging around. And then when they got the red card, obviously Brighton equalized, almost won the game, and then it ended 1-1. So this is going to be another tricky game for Arsenal. We know how Brighton play. Brighton is going to attack. Classic Brighton, they pass through you, they attack, they dominate possession, they attack. So I think, in a way, it suits Arsenal, right? Because they are going to get the space they need. So this is not going to be a team that's defending deep. They're going to get the space they need to maybe create chances and score. So it comes down to who takes the most chances. Arsenal also have their secret weapon, their corner kicks. I don't know if Brighton can defend. In fact, I think everybody is struggling to defend those corner kicks against Arsenal now. When they get those chances, they usually get a goal from it, or threaten to get a goal from it. So we'll probably have to see what approach Arsenal take. I feel like if Arsenal attack Brighton, they both attack each other, you probably will trust Arsenal to outscore Brighton based on the fact that Arsenal have better players. But will Arteta be more kind of pragmatic and say, okay, you know what, I'll approach this game differently. I will let them hold the possession. Then I will maybe attack on the break. It all depends on what the manager does, but that's going to be like an interesting game, right? If you want to watch one entertaining game on Saturday, that's the game to watch, because Brighton, they know how to play football only one way. They play out from the back, they will attack. They might make mistakes. That's why I said it comes down to who takes the most chances, because that playing out from the back, sometimes they will make mistakes. Will Arsenal punish them immediately? That's another question. But in terms of attacking, they will attack. And I think one battle to keep an eye on is between Mitoma, I think, and Calafiori. Because personally, for me, I think Calafiori is not a very good defender when it comes to 1v1. So with the way Brighton plays, and I think Timber now has a second yellow, so he's going to miss that game because Timber is kind of like the best 1v1 defender in the Premier League. If you put him in the left or in the right, it's the same thing. So if Timber was playing, they probably isolate Timber. I think Arsenal will say, okay, Timber, you're going to play where this Mitoma guy is because he's good in 1v1, so you're going to, take on him. But in the absence of that, I feel like Brighton are now going to overload that Calafuri because the other guy that plays for Arsenal, I think left back, that Luis Skies also, that youngster, he's quite good as well defending. I feel like the weak lane here will be Calafuri in terms of those 1v1 battles. So that's kind of one interesting one to keep an eye on. What will I say in terms of the game? I will say that Arsenal are favourite to beat Brighton as usual, as expected, right? Arsenal is going for the title, so surely they should be favourite to win most of these teams. But we'll have to see how that game goes because everybody knows going away to Brighton is difficult. United already went there to lose. Well, let's forget about United, they are not serious. But even Man City went to Brighton and they lost as well. So that Brighton game, going away to Brighton, especially for the big teams, it's not easy. But the thing with Brighton is that you don't even know what you're going to get. Crystal Palace went to Brighton and they won 3-0. Okay, yes, that's a local derby between Brighton and Crystal Palace. But I feel like when the big boys go to Brighton, it's usually a very tough game because it's almost like, the crowd, everybody's motivated. So that's not going to be an easy game for Arsenal. But for Arsenal, they have to win, right? They have to win. Currently, 6-point gap with Liverpool. Liverpool have a game in hand, right? So for Arsenal, the best they can do is win that game, cut the gap to 3 points, put pressure on Liverpool. Games that you have in hand is not points, right? They don't count it as points. Yes, you have 2 games, but it's not points until you play and win. So it's best to put that pressure on Liverpool when they're playing with Man United to see that, Arsenal have cut the gap to 3. It's up to you now, right? So they have to take opportunity. They can't even afford to play a draw there, right? They can't afford to play a draw because the gap, Arsenal needs to be almost perfect from now till the end of the season to be able to get something because that 9-point gap is a lot. So they have to look for a way to win. And as I said, because of that corner kicks, Arsenal's corner kick, like those set pieces, if a game is tight, Arsenal can actually decide to say, okay, this Brighton game, we'll approach it the way we approached the game against Tottenham. We'll be more defensive, don't give them space, stay in the game for as long as it takes. We can get them on the counter, right? Martinelli is there. And if not, we will wait for set pieces. And then when it comes, we take the chances because we know we can score from there. I'm not saying that's an ideal way to play. I'm just saying that Arsenal have to win that game, right? Going away to Brighton and then away to Brentford back-to-back is not easy for any team. Even for Liverpool, it's not easy. Even for Man City, it's not easy. But they've kind of found a way to get the win against Brentford. Now what they need to do is find a way to get the win against Brighton, cut the gap to 3, and then see what happens. Obviously, they're missing key players. Saka was missed. Saka is out for a while. As long as they can continue to manage to win these games, even if they don't play well, look for the win, then they stay in the title race. So for Arsenal, they have to win this game. So this is an interesting game to watch on Saturday. In fact, that's the game I'll be watching on Saturday because I know that it's going to be a kind of like a tough and entertaining game. Then the next game on Super Sunday is Liverpool vs Man United. So Man United is in crisis. I'm a United fan obviously, but I've been talking about United and predicting United to lose, and people get angry. There's lots of comments on my posts. There's lots of conversations going on Man United in terms of whose fault is it? Is it the manager? Is it the players and everything like that? But one thing I can say is that when you're losing games, you'll be low on confidence, right? You get more confident when you win games. So the fact that United they've not lost 4 games in a row, and in the Premier League they've lost 3 games in a row and they're conceding goals. In fact, it's so bad that the last 3 games they did not even score any goal. That's how bad it is. They didn't even look like scoring. That's how bad it is. I know, yes, the last game they were missing Fernandes and Ugarte, and I think both of them will be available. But you don't want to go to Liverpool at this time. The last United went to Liverpool, I think it was last season, they lost 7-0. Okay, no, they played 0-0, but the season before they lost 7-0. Liverpool is always beating United. In fact, I was looking at the stats, and I think the last 5 or 7 games away at Liverpool, United only scored 1. They didn't win any. They lost almost all of them and just played maybe 2 draws or so. So what's going to happen here, right, is the manager going to take a defensive approach and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to respect Liverpool. I'm going to go here, I'm going to defend, and I'm going to see if we will get chances on the break, right? Or will he go there and say, okay, I want to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool? I feel like if he goes there and says, oh, I want to try this, my 3-4-3, Liverpool will destroy United because they want that space. They want that space, and they're in dangerous form at the moment, right? So United cannot afford to give them that space. I think he needs to go there, take an approach, a similar approach to the one he took against Arsenal, whereby the first half it was just defensive, not really attacking, frustrating them, and then see where it goes from there. But for me, I don't see how United is going to win that game, right? So I know United can spring up a surprise. I remember the last season they played against Liverpool. I expected them to lose all three, but they played 2 draws and then they won one, like in the FA Cup. I think it was the quarterfinal or so. But that's Old Trafford, right? Anything can happen in Old Trafford, but I don't just see how United is going to win. Not even win. Get a result like a draw against Liverpool. I don't see how it's going to happen. Last season, it was the draw that United got against Liverpool that ended their title race, because Liverpool was in a title race. But after dominating that game so much and getting so many chances and missing all those chances and then end up playing that 2-2 draw, they started going downhill from there. So I feel like they've learned their lessons, right? And the manner with which they destroyed United 3-0. And I feel like in that game, United even created more chances compared to other games that they've lost. I'm not really, again, I don't see United's path of getting something. I think what will happen is Liverpool is going to win this game. What Man United will need to do is try to keep the score low, right? And be competitive, stay in the game, lose the game 2-1, 3-1 or something like that. Or make it tight and make them work for the win, even if they win 1-0. So it's not another embarrassing defeat, because if it's another embarrassing defeat, then after that, the next game for United is away to Arsenal, right? So, then the pressure is mounting already, and then questions are being asked about the new manager. Can you lose 6 games, 7 games in a row as a United manager? Is that acceptable? Personally, I think that's not acceptable. It doesn't matter if you say you don't have the players or it's a new system. It's not acceptable to lose games in that manner if you're a Man United manager, right? So I feel like for this game between Liverpool and Man United, it will be a win for Liverpool. I know that most of the rival fans, especially Arsenal fans, they'll be hoping, right, that even Chelsea fans as well, they'll be hoping that United kind of pull a surprise in this game so that we can keep the title race going. Personally, I wish that will happen. Like United will get a result at Liverpool, just so that the title race will kind of be more interesting. But I don't just see how United is going to do that. I don't just see how this current United side is going to get like a point against Liverpool. So for me, it's United to lose the game. Yeah, I think that's the end of the games for this week. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and listening. Please don't forget to subscribe. Bye.